Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your December 8th through the 14th, 2019 general love reading. It's Keegan. It's good to see you guys again. If you're returning and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy the reading. I went through this deck of cards and I pulled out all the major arcana cards. I'm going to pull out 3 from this just instinctively for you guys really quickly. That's going to give us the basis of starting for the reading, and then I have several decks off to the side here that have been pre-shuffled that I'll use to clarify, and we'll just work our way through the reading. I do just want to say a big thank you to you. You were the most viewed video for the first week of December, so thank you for that. Lots of really great comments, and the video has gotten lots of views so far. So if you haven't seen that video, you might want to go check it out. It seemed like it resonated a lot with you guys. So I don't know if this will be a continuation of that reading and energy or if this will be something new. I'm just shuffling this deck. I'm putting the cards back in just so I can use this deck as well, but I wanted to get these cards out first. So let's see what we have here. Keep in mind this is a general reading, guys, so energies can be reversed. Don't try to force anything. If it resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, leave it behind for whoever it is meant for. If this reading doesn't resonate with you, again, you can watch the first week's video, or you can come back next week and see what I have for Aquarius then. Don't make any huge life decisions based on general readings either, okay? Well, this is interesting. We're going to work our way through this, and then again, I'm going to pull some clarifying cards and work through. I think what I want to do before I get too in-depth with this, I have my Oracle deck here. I just want to pull an Oracle card for you guys, just to get a little bit more insight into these, in terms of energy or advice for you, starting things off, and then we'll use this deck again at the end as well. This is for Aquarius Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising signs, so Crosswatchers, you're welcome. Watch videos at your own risk, though. So this card says, my energy creates my reality. I will focus on what I want. Wait, sorry. I'm tired. My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. Okay. So this does make a little bit of sense here. This card's a little interesting. I'm going to definitely want to clarify it, but you have the Emperor, the Sun, both coming out upright with the Chariot coming out reversed. Now the Emperor is an energy of someone who is about structure, ambition. They're going after what they want. They are standing in a place of authority and clarity about what they want, what they need, and how to get there. The Sun coming out here is the most positive card in the entire deck. So these two cards really make sense in terms of this. It feels very much like you have tapped into an understanding that you can manifest what you want simply by directing your energy and your efforts towards that thing. Now the Chariot coming out here reversed is a little bit confusing for me. You know, this card represents kind of the opposite of all of that. So this represents not really knowing what direction to take. There being opposition blocking your path, not being able to take action. It can also represent there being a need for having a little bit more self-discipline around something. So this could just be that you're still working on getting to a place where you're actually able to give this your all and really keep your mind focused. A lot of times with air signs, your mind and your thinking is your biggest strength, and it can also be your biggest weakness, because if you get too far into your mind, if you get too overwhelmed by thinking things through and analyzing things and trying to work out all the possible different avenues and consequences and things that can go wrong, it can get you stuck. I feel like there's a shift here. The Sun coming out really makes me feel like you are going to have success with this. You're going to be able to break through it, okay? I'm just going to move this off to the side a little bit. I'm going to use the same deck just to clarify these. Let's see what this Emperor is about. Clarify the Emperor for Aquarius. December 8th through the 14th. What's the Emperor here? Clarify the Emperor? Whoa. Okay, you guys never do that. I'm going to take it, though. 5 of Cups coming out with the Lovers reversed. So this could represent a situation in which part of what you're doing is trying to figure out how to stand in your own authority or get some sort of structure in place regarding a lost relationship. The 5 of Cups represents feeling lots of regret, disappointment over something, a failure. The Lovers coming out reversed, clearly that represents a relationship that has not gone well, has not worked out the way that we hoped it would. It can also represent being in a situation where you're not able quite yet to make a decision around a relationship. You could be looking at a relationship with someone who embodies this Emperor energy. Emperor does represent Aries for those of you who are dealing with an Aries. But what I feel here very much is trying to get your energy back so that you feel like you're in control of things, and it's regarding a relationship. It doesn't necessarily mean that this relationship has ended. For some of you it has, and you're looking back on it and you're trying to move on from it. What I'm getting for, I think, most of you though, is you're looking at a situation with someone that it's not going well. There's lots of conflict. There are issues here, and you're trying to make a decision, but you have not yet made that decision. And in that context, this Five of Cups represents looking back at things and thinking about, you're weighing the good and the bad. It does feel like you're a little bit more focused on the bad, and it could be that there just was more bad to deal with than good. But I think for most of you, you're looking at the situation and you're just trying to figure out what you need to do. And the Emperor is someone who looks at things rationally. They look at things from a place of almost like a detachment from the emotional aspect of things. They're very much about the structure. How does this work? How does this function? So, that makes sense. The Sun coming out here represents positivity. You had two other cards that came out here. I just want to point out you have the Sun because you also have the Star coming out with the Devil reversed. I like this. This is not bad. The Star card actually does represent you, Aquarius. So this is your card. This is a card of healing, purpose. It has a lot of spirituality attached to it. There's hope around this. And with the Devil coming out reversed, this is actually one of my favorite cards because when it's reversed, it is about taking a look at things that maybe we don't necessarily want to take a look at typically. So this is really exploring more of those darker parts of ourselves, the darker thoughts that we have, the darker self-destructive behaviors that we might have. And this is a card that represents release and detachment. So you're actually dealing with those things. You're dealing with things that get in your way and you're letting them go. It could also represent being detaching from a relationship. But again, I don't feel like that decision has been made in this situation because you're looking at this with the Devil. That's about detachment. You're looking at these cards, which are also about, things not being exactly how they are, weighing the options around things. But the Star does have a certain amount of hope to it around something that could potentially be rebuilt. And with the Sun also being here, I think that you're really trying to figure this out. You're trying to map out your next move and think about what it is that you want to do. Let's take a look at the Sun. I'm going to use this deck also to clarify the Sun for Aquarius. There's the Sun here. I have the King of Swords coming out upright. So the King of Swords is another Aquarius card. So you're showing up very strongly in this reading. You have both the Star, which represents you, and the King of Swords. This is about being in a place where you have mental clarity around a situation. You're seeking the truth. You're speaking the truth. It's not necessarily that you're detached or disconnected from your emotions, but you understand your emotions from an intellectual point of view. You are evaluating them, thinking about them, you're weighing them, and you're looking at the situation with, I do feel like this is a relationship. Now that we've got some clarifiers here, you're looking at this and you're really trying to be honest about it. And I think it's in two ways. I think you're looking at it and you're saying, yeah, these things were bad. These things needed to be, dealt with. But maybe these areas I was a little bit overreactive. Maybe these things weren't as bad as I thought they were. Maybe there was more good here than I really gave it credit for. The Sun card is just a very positive card, and because it is the most positive card in the deck, it overwhelms all this other stuff for me as a reader because it seems like what you're coming to in terms of the truth around the situation and the clarity that you're getting is that there was a lot of potential here. The Sun represents success and positivity. There's lots of joy that comes here. I think you're looking back at the situation and realizing that there was a lot of good. There is potential with this person, and you're looking back at this broken relationship, realizing that the things that actually caused the problems were the things that weren't being dealt with, the things that weren't being communicated, the things that, were causing issues under the surface. And as you're gaining clarity around what those things were, you're making the choice not to take any sort of action. That's what this Chariot is here. You're holding back. You're not taking movement forward around something because you're wanting to get clarity around it and really get clear about the potential success around it. Let's take a look at the Chariot. Ten of Wands. So this is something that felt, at the time at least, like it was just a lot of hard work. This relationship probably felt very unbalanced, and from your perspective it felt like you were having to do all the work, that you were having to put in all the, when something would go wrong, you were the person that would have to compromise. The other person wasn't willing to meet you halfway, and it just felt to you like it was something that you needed to walk away from. Again, I feel very strongly with this Devil card, you know, I'm not going to clarify all of these. I feel like the two that I want to focus on the most actually are the Devil and the Star. This balance between you know, is there hope here, or was this something that really there's too much of this heavy stuff for us to really have success with it? I'm going to switch decks. I'm going to go to my Rider-Waite deck. Clarify the Devil. Why is the Devil reversed? Temperance coming out reversed. It's the same thing as this Ten of Wands. It wasn't balanced. This was not something that there wasn't a middle ground here. There wasn't compromise. I also feel a lot of impatience. I just think that the two of you, in terms of this connection, were very impatient with each other. And when you have a lot with this Devil energy, when you have a lot of that heavy stuff that bubbles to the surface within the relationship, you have to also have patience that's involved with this, because people can't clear that type of deep emotional stuff quickly, typically. So it takes time. And when you're in a relationship with someone who's bringing that up, when you're in a relationship with someone who's making that Devil reversed, that Devil energy bubble to the surface, and it's hitting you in the face, it's hard to be patient, right? So I think in this situation, you were just triggering each other a lot, and it led to a place where you didn't feel like this person was meeting you in the middle. I think communication was very challenging here. Let's take a look at the Star. This is about that potential for this to be healed. Clarify the Star. Why is the Star here for Aquarius? Hangman. Exactly. You're thinking this through. You're not making any decisions. You're not letting... It's like you've paused any action here. You have the Hangman and the Chariot reversed. You've paused this, and you're just trying to take the time to think this through and figure it out. I don't need to explain that anymore, I don't think. I think that's just pretty clear on its own. Let's take a look at this King of Swords. What's the King of Swords here? Clarify the King of Swords. Five of Cups coming out again. It's reversed here. Five of Cups does represent an energy of moving on. We're going to take a look at it with a different deck just to clarify a little bit more, but it's interesting. For some of you, I feel like your motivation, like when you think about this, when you think it through, and you're in a very logical type of mental mind, you feel the need to move on. You feel like the decision, the mental decision, the logical decision here would be to move on. But keep in mind, underneath this, you have this Sun energy. Okay, you have the Sun and the Star. These are they're going to overwhelm this. So this would be a situation in which, when you think this through and you try to analyze it, and you're coming at it from a very intellectual, logical type of perspective, you're like, I need to move on. And then the Sun is behind all of this saying, maybe not. Maybe you need to think about this. Maybe you need to give this another chance. Maybe there's potential here for this to have success. And that's leaving you in a place where you're not ready to make any sort of decision, because there's a conflict between what you feel internally and what you think internally. Let's take a look at this Ten of Wands. Clarify the Ten of Wands for Aquarius. You have the Six of Pentacles here. Six of Pentacles represents a place where there's equal give and take. I can see why this would be confusing. And then you have the Knight of Pentacles, which has come out upright. This is a place of the Knight of Pentacles in terms of an energy. I don't necessarily feel that this is representative of a person. This feels very energetic to me. But this represents hard work and putting in a lot of effort. There is potential here, guys. There's potential for this to be balanced. There is potential for this to be something that feels really fair, where you're giving and receiving equal amounts, where the two people are committed to this on the same level, but it's going to take hard work. It's not going to be something that's easy. I'm going to use my Mystic Monday deck. Just going to give it a couple of shuffles. You know, it's really interesting because when I'm looking at this here, I could almost end this reading at this point. I'm going to keep pushing a little bit because several of you commented in last week's video. I joked that the air signs tend to be very like, get to the point and get it done. Don't poke around too much. And there were several people in the comments who told me to feel free to poke around more. So don't get mad at me, get mad at them. Go find them in the comments and tell them you think differently. But I'm going to poke around a little bit more because it's so interesting in these different stacks. It's like what I feel here in terms of energy is just so much confusion. There's hope, and then there's I don't know, and should this work? And I think there was this stuff that was playing into it that maybe we could work on, but it was really unbalanced, but I don't want to make a decision. And then here, this feels like your mind. So it's almost like this is your heart, this is your mind. Okay, there's all this confusion internally in terms of how you feel. In terms of your mind, it's like, nope, this didn't work. I'm not going to stick with this. I'm going to move on. And then the sun comes in and it puts you into this place where you're like, I don't know. Maybe if we really worked at it, maybe if we put in the effort, maybe it could be balanced. Maybe it wasn't as much of an unbalanced situation as I thought it was. I'm not going to make any moves. I'm not going to make any decisions. I'm going to think this through. It's a very interesting reading. I do think in a way that this is maybe connected to last week's reading for some of you, because in that reading there was someone from the past, and I remember in that reading it wasn't like your most recent relationship. It wasn't your most recent connection. It was someone from before that, and trying to think about that person. And this would fit with that, of really looking at that person and thinking, I don't know, is there still something there? Do I want to go back to this? Could this work? Could we make this happen? Are they willing to put in the work that they would need to in order to deal with these issues that we had? There's just a lot of conflict here about this. I want to take a look at this temperance. As I said, here, this is something saying unbalanced. Here we have balanced. So I want to take a look at this and see if we can clarify this specifically. How's temperance reversed? We have the Five of Swords coming out reversed. This is a card of reconciliation, of dealing with past resentments. It's about seeking forgiveness, giving forgiveness, making amends with someone. I really do feel like, you know, at least someone here, whether it's you, Aquarius, or the other person, they do want to try again here. They want to see if this can work and see if maybe these issues from the past, you know, have been resolved or could be resolved. Let's take a look at the Hangman. Where's the Hangman here? I like that this Hangman isn't reversed. I like that it's come out upright, because that just shows that you're just taking the time you need. You're not really just pulling back and being stubborn about it. The Moon. Wow. So you have the star, you have the sun, you have the moon here. The moon represents a situation where there are just things that are unknown. There could be a need to really lean into your intuition in terms of trying to make this decision. It feels like you aren't gonna be able to feel your way through it in terms of like your feelings are conflicted. You can't think your way through it because your thinking is clouded, your thinking is conflicted. The moon is coming out saying there's lots of unknown stuff here, and that's going to trigger anxiety, that's going to bring up fear. But if you lean into your intuition and you make sure that you're not looking at this with any sort of like filter that's blocking you from seeing the reality of a situation or creating any sort of an illusion, the moon is really speaking to just listening in and following your gut, leaning into your intuition and following it. Let's take a look at this Five of Cups reversed. Again, this is about moving on, making the decision to move on. Why is the Five of Cups reversed for Aquarius? You have the Fool. This reading is very interesting, guys. Yeah, so look, this is exactly what I was saying. When you're this King of Swords, when you're trying to approach this with mental clarity, you're trying to see the truth of the situation. Your mind tells you to move on from this. The Sun comes in with the full energy, and it's saying, I don't know, maybe you should try this again. Maybe you should take the leap. There's so much conflict between those energies, though. But the Sun really is overwhelming it. And it's interesting because in terms of the cards that you've had come out, you know, the Moon, you have the Star, you have the Sun, you have the Fool, all of those are coming out upright, and they're all representing giving something another chance, taking the risk, really looking at something and seeing the potential for it to be healed, for it to be repaired. Then you have the Six of Pentacles, which is about, you know, things being equal. There being an equal give and take. The Empress came out. She's reversed. You know, Aquarius, I just feel like even with all of this, even with everything and having this pull, having this draw, you're still just, there's something that's preventing you from really embracing it and jumping for it. I think in the past, this relationship might have potentially felt a bit restrictive to you. The Empress reverse can represent a fairly smothering type of energy. There's also, with the Empress, when she comes out reversed, a certain notion of dependence. And what I get from that is that when you were in this relationship, it felt like you were dependent upon it. That if you lost this person, if you lost this connection, if you lost this relationship with this person, it felt like you wouldn't know how to deal with it. You wouldn't know how to move on, that your life would like be over. That's the Empress when she's reversed. Okay. And I think that creates a certain level of fear within you about trying this again. That's the thing that's, even when you look at this and you feel all this positivity, you have the Sun coming in and urging you to be, you know, the Fool and to jump into this again. You look at how it was before and you get right back into that energy. And even though the truth of the situation here is that there's potential for this to be balanced, for this to be fair, for the two people to be giving and receiving equally, this creates a lot of fear within you that you'll end up in the situation again where you feel like dependent upon this person or dependent upon this relationship. You might lose yourself in it again, or somehow be restricted by it. You know, and this Knight of Pentacles is right next to that, saying, yeah, and it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of hard work. I hadn't really asked yet. I'm going to put those back in. I want to give this deck a shuffle before looking at this Knight. Well, these cards are not even going to go together. Clarify the Knight of Pentacles. Guys, there's potential here. The Ace of Pentacles represents a new opportunity. And typically, traditionally, it would be a situation around your career, your like a financial opportunity. But the Pentacles also represent the notion of home, of a committed type of stable home environment. There's potential with this person. It will be a lot of hard work. There's lots of stuff that you need to deal with, but there's so much supportive energy saying that, you know, it's your energy around this is what's going to create the reality. What you focus on is what you will manifest. Guys, if you're focusing in on being scared of this, if you're focusing in on there being this unbalanced thing of focusing in on the pain, then that's what the potential is for this relationship. But if you're focusing in on the fact that it seems like this could potentially be worked on, if you're focusing in on the fact that you feel drawn to try this again, to dive into this with this person, there is so much potential here if you're focusing in on the good, if you're focusing in on this being able to be healed. But again, it's about where your mind is, where your energy is. That's what's going to really determine this. That's why I'm saying you can't necessarily depend on your feelings or your thoughts. You're going to have to tune into your intuition, what you're being guided in terms of of decision making here, because there's so much conflict, and the only way for you to focus is to just be quiet and be still and listen and tune in to what you're being guided towards. I'm not saying necessarily to dive into this, okay? Because your own feelings around this matter. If you can't find a place of not being scared of this, if you can't find a place of being in a mindset of believing that things are going to go wrong again, is we're just going to fight, it's going to go bad. If that's where your energy is, don't go back into this, because you're going to create that. You're going to create that exact thing, because that's where your energy is. But if you think about this and you think, no, I really do feel like this deserves another chance. I really do feel like this is unresolved. And I feel like there are things that I've learned. I understand myself better. I understand more of the darker parts that devil reversed. I understand more of the things that I needed to work on. I have worked on those things. I've healed those things. I'm more balanced. I'm more secure. I understand myself better. Maybe they've done the same type of work. Maybe we wouldn't have those same challenges and issues if we tried again. If that's where your mindset is, just know that there is a lot of potential here. There's a ton of potential with this person. But again, it requires you both to have done work and healed. Okay? I want to do something a little bit interesting. I have another deck here. A couple shuffles. I actually just want to I'm not going to clarify any specific cards here on the deck. I just want to go through this deck once and just see what comes out. Okay? So anything else that wishes to be revealed to Aquarius December 8th through the 14th regarding this reading? Anything else that wishes to be revealed? Okay, we had one card come out. We have the Eight of Coins coming out reversed here. Very interesting, because the Eight of Coins represents, when it's reversed, it represents self-development, activity that is directed in the wrong direction. So not having our activities focused on what it needs to be focused on. And the other aspect to this card is when someone is trying to focus on perfectionism, trying to make something be perfect. Relationships are messy. Relationships are hard. Relationships are never perfect. Relationships, the health of a relationship really is dependent upon how much two people are willing to put in the same amount of hard work. Okay? If two people are coming into a situation where they really are trying to balance each other, be there for each other, they're willing to put in the efforts and the work, that creates a situation in which it's stable. We're willing to be able to go in and take the risk. In that situation, there is lots of potential for success. Okay? I want to go back to the Oracle deck now that we've done the reading. I'm going to end the reading there, but I just want to see what wants to come out for you guys, just in terms of any additional advice or guidance out of the Oracle deck. Any advice or guidance for Aquarius from December 8th through the 14th. So it says, my capacity to tune into the energy of love gives me the words I need when I'm ready to speak up, the compassion I need when it's time to forgive, and the power I need when I am lost. So guys, seriously, think about this. My energy creates my reality. My capacity to tune into the energy of love. Okay? Lots about your energy. You have to think about your own energy. You have to figure out where you want to be in this situation. If this is something you want to explore, if this is a person that you want to reach out to, if this is a person you want to try again with, you have to make sure that your energy is coming in free of all of the things from the past in terms of limits. It doesn't mean you completely forget. That would be dumb. Okay? I'm not saying you go into this just pretending like nothing bad ever happened in the past. You have to acknowledge that things happened in the past, because that's part of what you would have to have the conversation with this person about. But you can't go into it from a perspective of this person hasn't shifted, this person hasn't changed, this person is incapable of growth, because then that's where you are limiting them. You're only allowing them to be as they once were. You're also only allowing yourself to be as you once were. Your own energy is the key to this. I hope that makes sense to you, because if you can get yourself into the place of focusing on the energy of love, then the right words will come out. You'll be able to forgive things because you'll be gifted compassion from the universe, because that's what you are asking for. And you also will be able to fully understand and feel more clearly when you're tapped into that energy of love and listening to your intuition, what you need to do in regards to this, whether there is still something here for you or whether it's something that you need to move on from. So Aquarius, I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I actually really loved doing this reading for you. It was very interesting, very complex. I do always love with the air signs reading sort of that battle that happens between your mind and your heart. I love how those readings are just in terms of being a reader. So thank you for letting me do this reading for you. If you liked this reading, please take a moment, just give the video a thumbs up. Leave comments. I love hearing from you guys. Love reading the comments and seeing what resonated with you. And if you're not subscribed yet, what do I need to do in order to get you to subscribe? I feel like this was a really good reading. So click the subscribe button, join the community here. I'll be back next week for the 3rd week of December readings. And I hope that you guys have some clarity and have made some decisions about what you're going to do here.